Hey, y'all, Scott Horton here for WallStreetWindow.com. Mike Swanson knows his stuff. He made a killing running his own hedge fund and always gets out of the stock market before the government-generated bubbles pop, which is, by the way, what he's doing right now, selling all his stocks and betting on gold and commodities. Sign up at WallStreetWindow.com and get real-time updates from Mike on all his market moves. It's hard to know how to protect your savings and earn a good return in an economy like this. Mike Swanson can help. Follow along on paper and see for yourself. WallStreetWindow.com. All right, you guys, welcome back. I'm Scott Horton. It's my show, The Scott Horton Show. Next up is Brian McGlinchey from 28pages.com. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, Scott, how you doing today?
Oh, there you are. Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
You're very welcome. And it's 28pages.org.
.org. I said .com, huh? Sorry about that. Yeah, I was pulling up the link. 28pages.org, and that's referring to 28 redacted pages of the original joint congressional committee investigation of the failures of the government departments leading up to the September 11th attack, correct?
That's exactly right. That report that they produced, very authoritative, over 700 pages, and throughout it, you've got a name blacked out here, a place blacked out there, but then all of a sudden you come to this chapter and it's a complete screeching halt. 28 full pages, the entire thing is just wiped out.
Mm-hmm. And now when it comes to credible leaks and information and statements made by congressmen and senators who've read it and know what it is, do you think there's much in there that we really don't know yet, or we pretty much know what's in there, we just want to see it for ourselves at this point?
I think we have a strong sense, and there's a press conference on Capitol Hill yesterday. Is Congressman Jones and Lynch, Republican and Democrat, were joined by Senator Bob Graham to reintroduce a resolution urging the president to declassify them. The vigor with which they talk about what is in these 20 pages and why it's so important that they be seen. I don't know what's in them, but the way they talk, it seems pretty striking, and that if nothing else, it may, maybe seeing it right in front of you, or maybe the detail or the extent of what was indicated, specifically about apparent ties, to Saudi Arabia. It sounds like it could be actually very, very intriguing and unsettling and influential of our foreign policy.
Mm-hmm. So we know that from previous released FBI files that the FBI at least claimed in their documents that Prince Bandar's wife had sent a check, I believe to al-Bayoumi, the apparent Saudi asset in San Diego who was helping harbor the Flight 77 pilots?
That's right. There are financial links between Bandar's wife and money going out there. You've also got the Bayoumi himself, who just happened after he had a meeting at the L.A. consulate of Saudi Arabia with the Islamic Affairs people. Just happened, he says, to have met two of the 9/11 hijackers who had just arrived just a couple of weeks, 10 days after the terrorist summit in Malaysia. And he just happened to meet them and said, I'm going to be welcoming to them because they're speaking Saudi accents, and happened to take them down to San Diego and pay their first month's rent, and then continuing money to them. And Bayoumi is pretty much known to the United States as being a Saudi intelligence asset. He was working at a no-show kind of job at a Saudi company in San Diego, and his quote-unquote salary there mushroomed and ballooned, coinciding with the arrival of these two. So it's pretty damning, the web of connections that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Prince Bandar himself has demanded that the 28 pages be released because he says it'll clear his name from all this innuendo.
Yes, and Congressman Lynch and Senator Graham have been asked about that, and they pretty much dismiss it, not necessarily in their words, but as a bluff. That it's kind of a calculated thing. They knew that at the time of they were urging this release. It was during the Bush administration. I think they pretty much knew Bush was not going to release them, so they just use it as a PR angle to say, they want them out as much as you and I do, but I really don't think that's the case. And
yeah, well, and we know from even Greg Palast's earliest reporting after September 11th that the FBI had been told back off the Saudis because everybody involved in paying protection money to al-Qaeda to not attack Saudi Arabia were the same people who were business partners with the Republicans who were coming into power. And it was all very embarrassing. And so you should back off of all those kinds of investigations, which was right at the exact wrong time to be doing so. And, I believe it's Graham, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it Senator Graham who complained that when the story broke, a couple of years ago about this house in Florida where some Saudi royalty were living and some 9/11 hijackers had been coming and going, that this was the first he'd heard of it. The FBI hadn't told him about this before. This was not in the investigation. This is a whole other leg of this thing that had been kept secret even from these 28 redacted pages. Am I right?
That's exactly correct, Scott. And if your listeners go to 28pages.org, they'll find some very interesting articles on that topic. But it's exactly right. There's a investigative media outlet in Florida called the Florida Bulldog, formerly the Broward Bulldog. Dan Christensen's an investigative reporter there. He was tipped off by a few other reporters that there had been a FBI investigation of a 9/11 cell in Sarasota. He started to dig into it, and this is 10 years, mind you, after the Senate Intelligence Inquiry. And he thought, well, I'll check first with Bob Graham. And he was absolutely startled when he approached Bob Graham, and Bob Graham said, the FBI never told me anything about a cell in Sarasota. And then as they pursued it, and through Freedom of Information Act and so forth, first Christensen was told, we looked into it and there was absolutely nothing we found. He said, well, that sounds, could you let us see the documents, related to the investigation? They said, we don't have any documents to show you, which is, if you investigate something, you're going to have some kind of paper trail. And then as it went on and on, 35 very damning pages came out. And now a judge, as part of the FOIA lawsuit, and there's a good judge on this case because he's not really going for the FBI stonewalling. He's reviewing tens of thousands of pages now that the FBI has produced on this. But you're right, it was a wealthy Saudi family living just outside Sarasota in a really nice upscale neighborhood who had 9/11 hijackers contact with them directly at their house. We've got the gate records and so forth, phone records.
And they had abruptly left the country right before or right after the attack?
They left about, I believe, 2 weeks, 10 days before, and in sudden fashion. Right. We're talking brand new, newly registered vehicles in the driveway, fresh groceries, clothing, just the safe door swinging open in the bedroom. I mean, absolute emergency, unplanned. We've got to get out of here instantly is what it really looked like. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's also so interesting too. A couple more, and we're so short on time. I'm sorry, Brian, but
okay.
We have all the hubbub about the torture monger Bukowski, Alfreda Bukowski at the CIA, who is the red-haired lady in the movie Zero Dark 30 and told this lie that torture led to Osama, etc. She's also the one who apparently called the shot that said the CIA should not tell the FBI about the Al-Qaeda guys in San Diego. And when confronted with some of this information by Ray Nowaleski, I'm sorry, I know I'm saying his name wrong, but the guy that did Press for Truth and the Rich Blee podcasts 1 and 2, Richard Clark says the CIA must have been trying to recruit these guys up until it was way too late. That's the only reason that he could think of why George Tenet knew all about these guys and didn't tell him. I mean, this stuff is so huge. And that the Ray Nowaleski and his partner there, especially the sequels to Press for Truth, that should have been just absolute blockbuster news all over TV everywhere.
Right.
Richard Clark's statements there. There's so much here. And I'm sorry, I don't even know if I have a question. I thought I had one a second ago, but it floated away. So let me ask you something better, which is, tell me very quickly about the progress you've made, the successes you've made so far, and how people can help you actually get this done, Brian.
Yeah, we're up against some powerful forces between people protecting Bushes and Saudi Arabia and the intelligence community, as you just talked about, having its own motives. The main thrust is political pressure. We can't trust all the mechanisms of government to do the right thing, so it's going to be a political pressure on the president to declassify this. And the principal thrust of that right now is House Resolution 14, and we want people to contact their congressmen and women, and we enable that at 28pages.org. We've got pre-written letters. You can just print one out and fire it away. We got scripts for making a phone call.
And how many congressmen you got on your side already now?
It's 21 at the end of last session, and then we restart now with the new Congress.
Okay, that's great. 28pages.org, guys. Take part in this. Come on. 28pages.org. Thank you. That's Brian McGlinchey. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
So you're a libertarian, and you don't believe the propaganda about government awesomeness you were subjected to in 4th grade. You want real history and economics. Well, learn in your car from professors you can trust with Tom Woods' Liberty Classroom. And if you join through the Liberty Classroom link at scotthorton.org, we'll make a donation to support The Scott Horton Show. Liberty Classroom, the history and economics they didn't teach you.
You hate government? One of them libertarian types? Or maybe you just can't stand the president, gun grabbers, or warmongers. Me too. That's why I invented LibertyStickers.com. Well, Rick owns it now, and I didn't make up all of them, but still, if you're driving around and want to tell everyone else how wrong their politics are, there's only one place to go. LibertyStickers.com has got your bumper covered. Left, right, libertarian, empire, police, state, founders quote, central banking. Yes, bumper stickers about central banking. Lots of them. And, well, everything that matters. LibertyStickers.com. Everyone else's stickers suck.